The process for gaining entry to the UK is getting harder and harder. And it's not as if we do not need people to come here and help with the NHS, with the running of our transport, with all the various jobs that are needed around our country. We need migration. And we've got this rhetoric now which says that we are going to choose who we want, and we're going to do it on some sort of Australian points system, which means we're going to end up with a huge number of overqualified individuals from other countries coming to Britain. We're still going to have difficulty running our transport systems. We're still going to have difficulty picking vegetables on our farms. The Australian point system is not necessarily the answer. There was somebody today who pointed out, somebody who regularly leaves comments on the site, pointed out that he has been held in limbo for 2 years in another country waiting for the Home Office to make a decision about his application to come here. I think it's a he. And meanwhile, all his paperwork, all his documents have been taken by the British Home Office. 2 years. 2 years in limbo. Unable to do anything. Unable to go anywhere else because the British Home Office, in its arrogance, takes all his documents. It is extraordinary. And anybody who's got dual citizenship will know that when you try and renew your passport, the Home Office takes all your documents and can keep them for quite a long time, denying any form of travel, compromising your response to any emergency. And why? We're beholden to an organisation which is running on old-fashioned spreadsheets and has not kept up with the times, has not got enough people to do the jobs that it claims it is doing. And it deals with great arrogance with all its customers or clients or victims, however you want to describe us, those people who have to interface with this horrific ministry, horrific and abusive ministry. Now, as for Article 31, I find this so interesting. Article 31 of the United Nations Refugee Convention from 1951. And there are two particular clauses which are of importance. The first one is that anybody who comes to this country is not illegal, providing they, quote, present themselves without delay to the authorities and show good cause for their illegal entry or presence. So if, for example, they have a visa, that's the point to show it, or if they wish to claim asylum, that's the point to do it. And if we compare the 2 years wait for an application from outside the country to coming here illegally by boat, but using illegal transport, you can suddenly see the lure. If we're going to solve this problem, we have to deal with the root issues, and the root issues are that we need to create viable and functioning visa systems so that people can come here and can work and can enjoy our hospitality and this country. We are open for business. And if we make that impossible, then actually we are inviting people to come across by illicit means. So one of the phrases is to present themselves without delay. The other phrase is more ambiguous, and it's the ambiguity in that phrase which probably needs challenging. And if it's going to be challenged, then we need an international convention. And I'm sure we're not the only country to challenge this. This is the line that somebody is considered illegal, even if they claim asylum, if they have not come directly. So the phrase is that they can claim asylum if they're coming directly, quote, coming directly from a territory where their life or freedom was threatened. Now, Suella Braverman would say that anybody who is crossing the channel and therefore is coming Incidentally, from France. France is a safe country, therefore they are not coming directly from a territory where their life or freedom was threatened. Or if they're coming ultimately from Albania, similarly, they're not coming from a territory where their life or freedom was threatened. Well, actually, that's not necessarily true. Anybody who would know, who's caught up in the feuds that are still ongoing in Albania, would feel their life was threatened. Albania is not sufficiently advanced that it's got rid of that sort of blood feud issue. But I'm sure a lot of people from Albania, given the fact that we have to deal with this, given the fact that people like Phelps and Braverman have brought this up, we have to face this head on, this racist rhetoric, which is no less racist than the racism we saw in France yesterday. The economic migration was perfectly acceptable a few years ago, and we need it. It's not a disgrace. But we need to make it, we need to control it, and we need to make it viable, which means we need to find ways to engineer it. And at the same time, if we don't want people from Albania, young men coming from Albania, and in fact we should encourage them to stay in Albania and build up their own economy, then we need to be working with the Albanian government to put out that message. Not with threats, that doesn't work. We need a carrot as well as a stick. We need to work with the Albanian government, and it's in our interest to do so. So as for this coming directly, at what point does that journey of coming directly start? And that's where the ambiguity lies legally. And it provides huge fodder for immigration lawyers, just as it provides rhetoric for Suella Braverman and for Priti Patel. Now, we also know that the Rwanda project is failing because Suella Braverman is now talking to other countries to take over from where Rwanda started. This is all part of a distraction, to distract from the fact that the Home Office is not doing its job properly. We know that because people are waiting for 2 years to have their paperwork processed, even when they present it legitimately. So if the legitimate option is demonstrably failing, the illegitimate option is an invitation. And people offering TikTok solutions are going to be considered by individuals who are desperate, who are anxious, who are poor. What will you risk to make money for your family? I have much sympathy with these people, and I have very little sympathy for a government that cannot get its act together. We're now 10 days into Rishi's tenure, and for the most part, I think he's done surprisingly well in those 10 days. He's acquitted himself very well at the dispatch box, and he's presided over a sort of process of distraction which draws attention away from his proposed tax rises and towards the nonsense of Suella Braverman and the Home Office. From a political point of view, I think that's really quite impressive. From a moral point of view, it's reprehensible. I think I'll deal with this in a few minutes.